Hi, Dean here with Green Elephant Studio, and in this video I'm going to do a brief overview of the user interface of the Mod Duo. So when you plug your USB cable in between the computer and your unit, and then you pull up a browser window and pull up the web address modduo.local, this is where you end up. So let me minimize myself here. Alright, so this is where you build your pedal boards, and I'm going to do a different video on actually creating pedal boards. But in general, it works from left to right, and so left to right, and your inputs will be showing up on the left. You place all the plugins you want in the middle here, and then your outputs are here on the right. So very easy. It's a super easy graphic interface, and you should have no issues in trying to plug stuff in, and it's just like working with real stuff. There are other benefits, but I'm not going to get into those here. I want to move along. So let's start with, let's see, I'm going to go to the very bottom left here. So right now we are on the constructor. So that's this icon here with the puzzle pieces. The next one is the pedal boards library. This is where you'll find all your saved pedal boards. Scroll through those. You can also search on the top right here. Let's see here, banks. This is where you can create different banks of pedal boards where you might want to create a set list. So let's say right here you can put them in a certain order, all that kind of stuff. You can navigate through them using a MIDI or a foot switch. So you'll set one pedal board and then have your next song. You'll set them up in the order of your songs, maybe. Whatever you want to do. You can also use this to organize for different types of pedal boards you created. So it's however you want to organize it. All right. Back to the bottom left here, we got the plugin store. So it looks like the shopping bag. So this is where you're going to find all the available plugins that you can download onto your unit. There are currently 251 plugins in this state. Now, later on, I'm going to do kind of a settings/advanced settings kind of video where I'll show you where you can actually where you can access what's called beta plugins. And these are plugins which developers have created but just have not been completely vetted by the folks over at Mod Devices. So the ones right here, right now, they claim are completely safe to use and shouldn't crash, shouldn't do any of that kind of stuff. So they've gone through it and just vetted it as much as they can, as much as possible. So all you do is you just kind of scroll down here. Actually, at the top here they have some featured plugins. There are a few currently that you can purchase. So this one's £10, this one's £10, $12.99. so on and so forth, but there's only a few that you have to actually pay for. So out of the 251, I think there's about 4. So you still have another 247 plugins which are completely free and no problems. If you do decide to use betas, this number goes up to over 400, closer to 500 plugins available to you. We'll talk about that again later in another video. Down the left here, as you can see, there's just all the different categories. Then at the bottom you can actually search for different things such as chorus. And here we go. And as you can see, it doesn't show anything over here in my results because I'm in the filter category. So just to do it, best to do it with the all category, catch all. But I can go down to modulators and see that. Also shows up in reverb because there's some kind of a coursing portion to it, and it's somewhere in the description of it. So you can scroll down here. Let me actually X that so I can start looking at all the other plugins, and you can see which ones have been installed. If you're curious about anything, just click on it and it'll bring up a whole detail about it. So there is that. All right, so moving along. Let's go back to the constructor. Here we go. So all those plugins that you download are available on your unit will show up at the bottom here. So you can just see them right here, right? And then whenever you want one, you just click and drag it out. And there you go, it's on there. All right, and you can hit the search button here, enter a search term. Just remember to delete it. Delete the term if you want to see other plugins. You can pin this. It's already pinned actually. Just bring your cursor down. It'll pop up. I like to leave it pinned just because there's always plenty of room out here. And in fact, it adjusts to size. If you create these humongous pedal boards, it will kind of zoom out and give you more space. Again, all the categories across the top here, across the top of this section. So also favorites is a great thing. For example, I have some favorites that I use every time. For example, gain plugins. And all you do is hit the little star there and you'll find it in your favorites there. So I'm going to take it out for now since this isn't actually my unit. And all right. So at the very bottom here, you see this 120 BPM, MIDI ports, all these things. I'm going to go through that now. You can set a global BPM to your unit so that other plugins can access it. So for example, you might have a delay plugin and then like a panning plugin and something else, I don't know. Or you even have multiple delay plugins, but you want them to all sync to the same beat. This is where those plugins would sync to. However, some plugins have not been developed. The developers have not implemented that into their plugins. So there's not a whole lot at this time, but it's there. And for example, my favorite delay plugin is this one called the Bali delay. It's a wonderful delay. And that one does sync to the global BPM. And I like to do that. And I do assign one of the BPM to a foot switch. And so I have tap tempo right on my unit here, and it actually flashes with it. MIDI ports, this is where if you have some, let's see, you use your USB input to connect MIDI devices, such as MIDI controller keyboards or I don't know what else, any other kind of controller. Not so much the foot switches and those kind of things, but different kind of controllers, and it'll show up here. Anyway, this is where you will turn it on or make it available. The hardware one, the one on the back of the unit, I have a unit right here. It's got the regular MIDI in and out. This one's always available, and that's that little blue cable down here that you would do, and it works just like when you connect any kind of other plugin on this. All right, bypass. So the Mod Duo actually has true bypass available. So if you click on here, it will highlight, and now the unit is true bypass on both channels, and you can just do it by channel. There is a plugin called Hardware Bypass that you can select either one of the channels or both channels, and you can assign that to a foot switch so that you can have true bypass from a foot switch if you want to do it that way. I rarely use it because it's the center of my effects. I use the amp sims and stuff, so it doesn't make sense for me. But I can imagine people who have who use it for a very specific kind of effect and just want to turn it on and off on their pedal board, and then just pop it out when not needed, so it doesn't even affect the signal on your pedal board. All right, moving along. Here's the CPU. So I'm going to pull up some plugins here, but this is how hard your your Mod Duo is working. So right now it's only at 8.6, 8.4%. It wavers a little bit, but that's just because it just has this one plugin. So I'm going to start dumping some simulators on here, and they tend to use a lot more processing power. So let's go like that. And you see that, for example, I just put that one here and it jumped from, what was it, just a few percent to 51%. So that is a big jump. Just know that some plugins use more processing power than others. Obviously, like a stereo gain or a routing plugin, like a switch plugin, will use very little, where a simulator actually uses quite a bit. So be aware of that. A good place to be is just to stay under 80%. Once it reaches around 80, you'll start seeing a red on there. So that's my recommendation. RAM here says you've used, this is the memory used on here, and you've used about 12.3%, which means you still have 88% of your RAM still left. It's basically your memory. And for example, I have on mine, I think I have just about all 400 plugins on my unit, and I think it's still at around 15%. I've never seen it go up. It's it's just there to make sure you know what's happening in case you can't download anything more, but it's going to take a while to get to that point. So that's great. The next one is the settings screen, and you can click on that and it'll take you to the settings section. This is where you'll find some preference stuff if you want to back up your unit to a USB stick or anything like that. And there's some advanced things. I'm not going to go through everything right now. I'm going to do another video on that. But you just click go back, and we're going to come back to the constructor. Here we go. All right. The next symbol here is for the control chain device. So something like, let me grab my something like this. This is the mod foot switch that you can get, and these are great. It uses a special protocol which just goes over Ethernet. So on the back of your unit, you probably saw an Ethernet port which says control chain. Let's see here, where is it? Right there. All right, and that's not, don't connect that to a router or something like that. It will not work. That is for things like this. Also, I don't have my Arduino here, but you can buy a shield for the Arduino and create your own interfaces. I did a quick one with to do an expression pedal. I wouldn't know how to do it now, but I had a lot of help from the folks at Mod Devices. And so if you're into using Arduino, you can do that. They're also coming out with, so this is the foot switch, but they are coming out with the expression pedal very soon, hopefully by Christmas. That's what they said. Fingers crossed. Really excited about that. Do a little research and you'll see how really cool that one looks. It's got some switches and the expression pedal, the thing. So anyway, but this is their own protocol. It sends more information than just the the switches and position of the expression pedal, but it also has a screen here that will populate with like your plugin information. So that's really cool. It also sends power through there, so you don't have to send another power or anything like that to the device. So that's that. Put that down. All right, where was I? All right, so if you do have a control chain device, you'll find that it will say there when you hover over it, that one control chain device is there. And this last one on the very right is for if you need to update your system. This one, if you watched my last video, we did the update, so it's all up to date. It's got the check mark. If not, there'll be another symbol here, and when you hover over it, it'll tell you there is an update available, or it will actually have a little box here saying there's a mandatory update sometimes. So that is where that's at. All right, so what else here? Let's go to the very top to the left here. This is just where you'll find the title of your pedal board. Once you save it, it'll tell you right there what it is. Presets. So I don't know if you noticed, but I was very careful when I talked about these like banks and pedal boards. When I said that Mod Devices has their own creations, I didn't call them presets because of this function. I don't want to get it confused. So a preset for the Mod Duo means that you can create within your pedal board. You can set some plugins on and off, and also change their settings and all that, and pretty much take a snapshot of it, and then you save that, and then you change everything up, then you take another snapshot of that, and you can do however many of those you need, and then you can scroll through those. So where that comes very handy is, for example, in a song, you have your intro settings on it. So you have, maybe it's more clean, your distortions are turned down, and when you turn down, your distortions and things, then the overall level comes down. So you might want to just push that, the output a little bit, and then you get that sound and you save it. You get your next one, for the verse, chorus, so on and so forth. And then so when you're playing, you just kind of click through them as you're doing that. I'm going to do a separate video about that. I just wanted to let you know about what the difference was between presets, pedal boards, and their creations, that kind of thing. So let's keep moving on here. New pedal board, super easy. When you want to create a new pedal board, you can click on that, and then it will bring you to this screen. And that's it. Instead of having to clear out and do a save as and blah blah blah, this is just make it easy for you. Save, very easy. You're working on a pedal board, you click save. First time you do it, you might want to do save as, or if you want to do different versions of a same pedal board, maybe one is a mono output, next one is a stereo output, the one is maybe dual mono kind of output versions of the same pedal board. You want to do a save as and save them as different names. Share is pretty cool. You can share pedal boards with people. Right now I don't have anything to share, but once you save something, you can actually put some notes on there and then record the sounds from it. So people can actually hear it. Once you do the share, people can go on there and click on it and listen to the audio sample you created for it. Very cool. And you can also find all these pedal boards on the website at their pedal boards link. And then we got, of course, the plus and minus, the zoom in and out of the board. Zoom in, zoom out. Very simple stuff. I just wanted to do that quick overview. It took me about 20 minutes to do that. It says 19 minutes, I think. Took a little longer than I thought I would, but that's it. Just a quick overview of everything on this page. So I will do some more detailed stuff on certain sections, such as actually creating a pedal board, going over presets, that type of thing. And I hope this video was informational, not informal. Informational. Anyway, I hope you got something out of it, and please watch our videos, and I'll have some new ones coming up here. So thanks for watching, and have a great day.